Have you ever felt like you were playing a game of financial snakes and ladders, where for every 2 steps forward, you were mysteriously sent 3 steps back? For years, I believed my financial struggles were caused by the economy, my job, or my luck. The devastating truth, proven by science, was that the call was coming from inside the house. My own brain was secretly sabotaging my every move. If you work hard, have good intentions, but still feel like you're hitting an invisible wall when it comes to money, this is not a coincidence. It is a program. Subscribe, and let's learn how to rewrite the code. Part 1. The frustration of the glass ceiling. It's late. The rest of the house is asleep, and the only sound is the low, electronic hum of the refrigerator in the kitchen. It's in these moments of forced quiet that the truth of your life tends to present itself, stark and unadorned. And the truth staring back at me tonight, spread across this desk in a series of unforgiving numbers, was that I was trapped. Trapped in a cycle of effort and failure that I could not comprehend. On the outside, to the world, I was doing fine. I was the personification of the hustle. I woke up early. I worked hard. I read the success books. I listened to the abundance mindset podcasts. I even did the affirmations. I would stand in front of the mirror and speak the words, "I am a money magnet. Abundance flows to me easily and effortlessly." The words felt hollow, a weak spell against a powerful and unseen curse. Because the reality of my life, the numbers on this desk, told a very different story. The story was one of a glass ceiling. Every time I managed to save a little money, an unexpected expense would materialize out of thin air. The car would break down, the water heater would spring a leak. Every time I was on the verge of landing a major promotion or a big client, something would inexplicably go wrong at the last minute. It was a frustrating dance, a pattern of near success that was more painful than outright failure. It was as if there was a kind of invisible financial thermostat set inside of me, and whenever the temperature of my prosperity began to rise above a certain point, the thermostat would kick on a blast of icy air conditioning that brought me right back to my familiar normal of struggle and just getting by. This experience left me with a feeling of profound betrayal. I was doing everything right, everything the success gurus told me to do. But it felt like I was trying to drive a car north with a powerful industrial magnet strapped to the rear bumper, relentlessly pulling me south. I was flooring the gas pedal with all my might, burning through all my fuel of willpower, but the invisible force dragging me backward was simply stronger. This force, this secret saboteur, was the source of my anxiety, my stress, and a growing sense of hopelessness. I began to believe that maybe the universe was a hostile place, or that I was, in some fundamental way, destined to struggle. I had no idea that the saboteur wasn't out there. It was in here, operating from the most powerful control center in my body. My own brain. Part 2. The two minds, the conscious wish versus the subconscious program. To understand the source of the saboteur, we have to understand that we don't have one mind, but two, and they operate in drastically different ways. The first is the mind we know, the one we identify with. This is the conscious mind. He labels the tip of the iceberg, conscious mind, 5%. This is your thinking, creative mind. It's the seat of your wishes, your desires, and your aspirations. It's the part of you that decides, I want to be healthy, happy, and financially abundant. It's the voice that repeats the affirmations. It is the captain of the ship, standing on the bridge, looking at the horizon and setting the destination. Science knows that this conscious mind accounts for, at best, about 5% of our total cognitive operations. It is the tip of the iceberg. Beneath the surface of our awareness is the other player. He draws a line and labels the massive shape under the water, subconscious mind, 95%. This is your subconscious mind. It is not creative. It has no wishes or aspirations. It is a supercomputer. A habit machine. Its sole function is to run the programs that have been downloaded into it. It runs the programs flawlessly, automatically, and for the most part, without the conscious mind's awareness. It's what makes you breathe, what makes your heart beat, and it's what allows you to drive to work while your conscious mind thinks about your day. It is the vast, powerful, and unseen crew below deck, who are actually operating the ship. And herein lies the core of the problem, the source of all our self-sabotage. What happens when the captain of the ship, the conscious mind, declares, "Turn the ship north, to the Isle of Abundance"? But the program the crew, the subconscious mind, is running is a map that says, "Perpetually navigate south, to the Isles of Scarcity"? The answer is obvious. The ship will go south. The captain can shout all the orders he wants. He can stand at the prow and visualize the Isle of Abundance with all of his willpower. But the 95% crew, the powerful subconscious supercomputer, will follow the pre-existing program. The 5% captain's willpower is no match for the 95% crew's automatic, habitual power. This was my epiphany. My effort, my hard work, my affirmations, this was all happening in my 5% conscious mind. I was shouting orders from the bridge. But somewhere deep in my psyche, there was a program, a map, that was steering me in the opposite direction. The glass ceiling was not an external phenomenon. It was the upper limit of my subconscious program. The financial thermostat was my subconscious belief system, course-correcting my reality to match its set of instructions. The life-changing question stopped being, "How can I work harder?" and became, "My God, what program is running in my subconscious, and how did it get there?" Part 3, The Source of the Code, introducing Bruce Lipton. That question led me down a path of discovery that blew up my understanding of who I am. And at the center of that path was the work of one man, Dr. Bruce Lipton. Lipton is not a self-help guru or a mystic. He is a cellular biologist, a respected scientist who has taught at medical schools. His early research was in cloning stem cells, and what he discovered in his lab at Stanford University shook the foundations of conventional biology. The central doctrine of biology at the time was genetic determinism. The idea that our genes control our destiny. That we are, in essence, victims of our heredity. If you have the heart disease gene, or the depression gene, you are fated to have that condition. Lipton, through his experiments, proved this was fundamentally wrong. In his studies, he would take a single stem cell, place it in a petri dish, and let it divide. He would then take these genetically identical cells and place them in 3 different petri dishes, each with a slightly different environment or culture medium. What he found was revolutionary. In the first dish, the cells became muscle cells. In the second, with a different environment, the same cells became bone cells. And in the third, with yet another environment, they became fat cells. They were all genetically identical. The only thing that was different was the environment they were in. This proved that it's not the genes that control the fate of the cell. It is the cell's environment and its perception of the environment that sends the signal that activates or silences certain genes. He called this revolutionary new field epigenetics, which literally means control above the genes. This discovery has profound implications for us. We are not a single cell. We are a community of some 50 trillion cells. The culture medium, for our cells, is our blood. And what determines the chemical composition of our blood? It is our brain's perception of the world. If your brain perceives an environment of love and support, it releases chemicals into the blood, dopamine, oxytocin, growth hormone, that promote health and vitality in your cells. If your brain perceives an environment of fear and stress, it releases a completely different chemistry, cortisol, histamine, norepinephrine, that shuts down the immune system and prepares the body for a fight-or-flight response. Perception is what controls biology. And where do our deepest, most foundational perceptions about life reside? Not in the 5% conscious mind, which can be optimistic and hopeful. They reside in the programs installed in the 95% subconscious mind. Your subconscious beliefs about life are, every second of every day, translating into a blood chemistry that is controlling your genetic expression and your behavior. And, as I discovered to my horror and my liberation, this includes your beliefs about money. Part 4, The Programming Years, How the Code Was Written. So, if our lives are being run by these subconscious programs, the million-dollar question is, where did they come from? The answer, according to Lipton and a host of developmental neuroscientists, is both simple and shocking. The vast majority of our most fundamental beliefs about life, ourselves, and our place in the world were programmed into our subconscious minds during the first 7 years of our lives. From birth until approximately age 7, a child's brain is not operating in the same state of consciousness as an adult's. It's in a lower vibrational frequency, a state of brainwave activity known as theta. Theta is a state of hypnosis. It's a receptive, downloading state. This is a brilliant evolutionary design. A child doesn't need to be formally taught the thousands of complex behaviors and beliefs required to function in their family and their culture. They just need to observe and download. They are, in essence, a walking, talking, high-fidelity video recorder, absorbing everything in their environment without filter or criticism. They are downloading the rules of the game of life directly into their subconscious hard drive. Think about what you were learning during this period. You were learning about love. Was love safe and freely given, or was it conditional and scarce? You were learning about your own worth. Were you told you were valuable, capable, and loved for who you were, or were you criticized, ignored, or told you weren't good enough? And, crucially, you were learning about money. What were the conversations you overheard about money at the dinner table? Was money a source of joy, freedom, and creative possibility? Or was it a source of constant stress, argument, and anxiety? Did you hear phrases like, money doesn't grow on trees, we can't afford that, rich people are greedy, or, you have to work your fingers to the bone just to survive? These were not just words. For a child in a theta state, these are not opinions. These are downloaded, foundational truths about the nature of reality. They become the operating code of the subconscious mind. I began to do my own archaeological dig into my first 7 years. I remembered my parents, who were loving people, but who had grown up in scarcity. I remembered the hushed, anxious conversations they would have about bills. I remembered being told no to things I wanted, not with anger, but with a sense of pained limitation. I absorbed the belief that there is never enough. I watched my father work a job he hated to provide for us, and I downloaded the program. Work is a form of suffering you must endure to be a good person. I saw how people with more money were sometimes talked about with a mixture of envy and resentment, and I installed the belief, being wealthy will make me a bad person and isolate me from my family. These programs were not my fault. They were not even my parents' fault. They were just running the programs they had downloaded in their own childhoods. But understanding this was like finding the source code for my own self-sabotage. My conscious mind, my 5%, was affirming, I want to be abundant. But my subconscious mind, my 95%, was running a powerful, deeply embedded suite of programs that said, there is never enough, wanting more is dangerous, and being wealthy will make you a bad, unlovable person. Is it any wonder I kept hitting a glass ceiling? My subconscious was not trying to harm me. It was trying to protect me. It was keeping me safe, by ensuring I never violated its core, downloaded directives. It was keeping me in the familiar, safe zone of financial struggle, because its primary program was that becoming wealthy was a threat to my survival and my belonging. Part 5. The Brain as a Quantum Broadcaster, From Belief to Field. This is where the story moves from the realm of biology and psychology into the mind-bending world of quantum physics. We've established that your subconscious programs control your biology and your behavior. But the most profound discovery is that they do not stop at your skin. Your beliefs are not a private, internal affair. They are being broadcast out into the universe, 24 hours a day. Everything in the universe is energy. That's the foundational truth of quantum physics. The old Newtonian model of a universe made of solid, separate things has been completely replaced. At the subatomic level, there is no solid matter. There are only vibrating fields of energy, probabilities, and information. You are not a solid object. You are a vast, shimmering field of energy. And the central tuning fork that determines the frequency of your personal energy field is your brain. Through a process called electroencephalography, EEG, scientists can measure the electrical activity of the brain. These are the brain waves, beta, alpha, theta, delta. But there is a corresponding field that is even more powerful. Whenever there is an electrical current, it generates a magnetic field. This is basic physics. Using a technology called magnetoencephalography, MEG, scientists can measure the magnetic field produced by your brain's activity. And this field is not confined to your head. It radiates outwards, into the space around you, interacting with the larger quantum field of the universe. So, what is your brain broadcasting? It is broadcasting a signal that is a perfect energetic match to the dominant beliefs active in your mind. And where are the dominant beliefs? They are in the 95%, the subconscious. So, if your subconscious program is, there is never enough, your brain is not broadcasting your conscious wish for abundance. It is broadcasting a powerful, coherent, magnetic signal of not enough. You are, in a very real, scientifically measurable sense, a walking, talking broadcasting tower for scarcity. Now, we come to the final, crucial piece of the puzzle. The quantum field is not an empty void. It is a field of infinite potential, a sea of all possibilities, waiting to be called into form. And what calls a possibility out of the field and into reality? According to quantum physics, it is the act of observation. But it's not a neutral observation. It's an observation shaped by belief and expectation. The field responds not to what you want, but to what you are, energetically. It responds to the signal you are broadcasting. This is the secret that Dr. Bruce Lipton so brilliantly articulates. He marries his understanding of epigenetics with the principles of quantum physics. He states, your beliefs become your biology, and your biology creates your reality. It's a two-step process. First, your subconscious beliefs create a specific chemical cocktail in your blood, which changes how your cells behave. Second, those same subconscious beliefs are broadcast as an energetic signature from your brain, which influences the quantum field around you. You are literally, through the power of your subconscious broadcast, attracting experiences and circumstances from the field that are a perfect vibrational match to your inner programs. It is not magic. It is physics. My invisible financial ceiling was not a metaphor. It was a physical reality, created and sustained by the invisible but powerful quantum field being generated by my own brain, a field that was secretly repelling money to keep me aligned with my childhood programming. Part 6. Why Willpower and Affirmations Fail. The language gap. At this point, a crucial and painful question arises. If our conscious mind wants one thing and our subconscious wants another, why can't we just use our willpower to override the old program? Why can't we just shout down the negative beliefs with positive affirmations until they give up? This is the core strategy of so much of the positive thinking movement, and it is the reason why, for so many people, it simply does not work. It fails because there is a fundamental language gap between the two minds. They don't communicate in the same way. The conscious mind, your 5%, is the seat of your intellect. It communicates with logic, reason, and words. It loves to read books, to learn new concepts, and to create inspiring vision boards. It can be convinced by a brilliant argument or an inspiring lecture. You can read a book on the law of attraction, and your conscious mind can say, yes, this makes perfect sense. I am abundant. This is what I was doing. I was feeding my conscious mind with a steady diet of positive information, hoping it would trickle down and change the programs below. But the subconscious mind, your 95%, does not speak the language of words and logic. Trying to talk your subconscious out of a long-held belief is like trying to convince a computer to change its programming by reading it a beautiful poem. The computer doesn't understand the language. The subconscious mind operates on the language of habit and the language of feeling. It learned its primary programs not through intellectual study, but through repetition and powerful emotional experiences during your first 7 years. Therefore, the only way to effectively rewrite its code is to use its own language. This is why affirmations so often fail. When you stand in front of the mirror and say, I am wealthy, your conscious mind might be saying the words, but your subconscious mind is accessing its database. And its database, programmed in your childhood, says, That's not true. We are people who struggle. Wanting money is bad. This is a lie. And this conflict creates a state of internal chaos. Your body, which is controlled by the subconscious, might even have a stress reaction. Your heart rate might increase slightly, a subtle tension might appear in your gut. This is the feeling of your 95% supercomputer rejecting the input from the 5% conscious mind because it contradicts its core programming. In fact, for many people, this kind of affirmation can actually make things worse. It creates a state of cognitive dissonance that is deeply uncomfortable. Every time you say, "I am abundant," and your reality screams back, "No, you're not," it can reinforce your feelings of failure and hopelessness. You are essentially having an argument with 95% of your own mind, and you are going to lose that argument every single time if willpower is your only weapon. Force and repetition from the conscious mind alone are not enough to rewrite a program that has been running automatically for decades. To change the program, we can't just talk to the computer. We have to access the keyboard. We need a method to bypass the critical, analytical conscious mind and speak directly to the subconscious in the language it understands. Part 7. Rewriting the code, accessing the subconscious. So, how do we access the keyboard? How do we open up the subconscious mind to new programming, to new, supportive beliefs that will align our 95% with the desires of our 5%? Fortunately, we don't have to reinvent the wheel. Ancient spiritual practices and modern psychological techniques have given us a number of powerful, effective methods for doing exactly this. They all share one thing in common. They work by changing your brainwave state, moving you out of the active, analytical beta state of your conscious mind and back into the slower, more receptive theta state, the same state you were in as a child. One of the most ancient and effective methods is hypnosis. The word itself is loaded with misconceptions of stage performers making people cluck like chickens. But clinical hypnosis is simply the art and science of guiding someone into a focused, relaxed state of theta brainwave activity. In this state, the firewall of the conscious, critical mind is lowered, and you can introduce new, positive suggestions directly into the subconscious. This is why a single session with a skilled hypnotherapist can sometimes be more effective than years of talk therapy or positive thinking, because it directly addresses the root-level program rather than just arguing with the symptom. There are countless self-hypnosis recordings available, many of them from respected scientists like Bruce Lipton himself, that you can listen to as you fall asleep, allowing the new, positive messages to be downloaded as your brain naturally moves into theta and delta states. Another powerful method is a suite of techniques that fall under the umbrella of energy psychology. Modalities like PSYCH-K, which Bruce Lipton champions, EFT, emotional freedom technique, or tapping, and EMDR, eye movement desensitization and reprocessing, are all designed to do the same thing, to rapidly change subconscious beliefs by engaging the body and the energy system. These techniques use a combination of focused intention, physical stimulation, like tapping on acupuncture points or using specific body postures, and other methods to create a whole brain state where the left and right hemispheres are synchronized. This state is highly receptive to change, and it allows you to install a new belief and overwrite the old, limiting one in a matter of minutes. These are not about talking about the problem. They are about actively and physically rewiring the neural pathways that hold the old program in place. But you don't need a practitioner for everything. The most consistent and accessible way to begin rewriting your code is through the daily practice of what I call feeling-based visualization, which is essentially a form of meditative self-hypnosis. This is different from just thinking about what you want. You must engage the language of the subconscious, feeling. You find a quiet time, you close your eyes, you take a few deep breaths to calm your nervous system. And then, you imagine the reality you wish to create, but you don't just see it. You feel it. You generate the feeling in your body of what it would feel like to already have what you desire. What is the feeling of financial freedom? Is it relief, joy, security, generosity? You don't just think the word security, you generate the actual, physical, gut-level feeling of being completely and totally secure. You let that feeling wash over you. You marinate in it. When you do this, you are doing two incredible things. First, You are creating the exact chemical cocktail in your blood that matches that new reality, which begins the process of changing your cells epigenetically. Second, you are changing the magnetic signal that your brain is broadcasting into the quantum field. You are no longer broadcasting the signal of not enough. You are now, for those few minutes, broadcasting the powerful coherent signal of already abundant. You are speaking to the universe and to your own body in the only language they truly understand, the language of energy and feeling. This is how you begin to consciously program your subconscious mind for success. Part 8. The Quantum Observer in Practice. The practice of rewriting your subconscious programs is not a one-time event. It is a new way of life. Just as a gardener doesn't just plant a seed and walk away, you must tend to the new beliefs you are planting in the fertile soil of your subconscious mind. This means creating a daily routine, a daily ritual, that reinforces the new reality you are choosing. The first 10 minutes of your morning and the last 10 minutes before you fall asleep are the most potent and powerful times for this work. In these moments, your brain is naturally in the slower, more receptive states of alpha and theta, and the veil to the subconscious is at its thinnest. My own practice became a non-negotiable part of my day. Every morning, before I looked at my phone, before I invited the world's chaos into my mind, I would sit in quiet meditation. I would not plead with the universe. I would not ask for what I wanted. I would simply step into the feeling of the reality I was choosing. I would feel the gratitude for the abundance that was already mine. I would feel the peace of financial security in my body. I would feel the joy of being able to be generous with my family and my community. By starting my day this way, I was setting my energetic tone. I was tuning my broadcasting tower to the frequency of abundance before I engaged with the world. Then, at night, as I was drifting off to sleep, I would do the same. I would put on a self-hypnosis recording or simply replay the feeling of my desired future in my mind. This is incredibly powerful, because the last thoughts and feelings you have before you fall asleep are the ones that your subconscious mind will chew on, process, and integrate for the next 8 hours. Instead of falling asleep replaying the worries of the day, I was falling asleep marinating in the feelings of my success. I was turning my 8 hours of sleep into an 8-hour-long programming session for abundance. This practice creates a profound shift. You stop living your life by default and start living it by design. You become a conscious observer of your own thoughts and feelings. During the day, you'll start to notice the old programming trying to run. A bill will arrive, and the old thought, "there's never enough," will pop up. But now, because you are aware, you don't have to believe it. You can see it for what it is, a ghost from the past, an old, defunct piece of code. You can consciously choose to let it go and replace it with the feeling of your new, chosen belief. "Thank you for sharing," you can say to the old thought, "but I am choosing to feel security and gratitude." This is the work. It is the moment-by-moment, conscious choice to withdraw your energy from the old reality and invest it in the new one. It is the process of becoming the master of your own mind, rather than the slave of its old programs. Part 9. From Repelling to Receiving, the Ripple Effect. As you consistently practice this inner work, something magical begins to happen in your outer world. The quantum field, which has no choice but to respond to your new, coherent broadcast, begins to rearrange itself to match your new frequency. This doesn't happen overnight, but it happens with a certainty that will leave you in a state of awe. The coincidences and synchronicities start to multiply. You'll be thinking about a new business idea, and you'll randomly bump into the exact person who can help you with it. An unexpected check will arrive in the mail. An opportunity for a promotion or a new job, one that is a perfect match for your skills and desires, will seem to fall out of the sky and into your lap. The people and circumstances that were a match for your old, scarcity-based frequency will naturally begin to fall away, and new people and circumstances that are a match for your new, abundance-based frequency will be drawn to you. This is not the universe rewarding you. It is the universe simply reflecting you. It is the immutable law of resonance. You have changed your broadcast, so you are now picking up a different channel. The glass ceiling you used to hit doesn't shatter, it simply dissolves, because the subconscious program that created it is no longer running. The financial thermostat has been reset to a new, higher level of normal. I saw this in my own life with a clarity that still gives me chills. As I changed my inner programming from work is suffering to work is a joyful expression of my creativity, my entire career transformed. The clients I had been chasing, the ones who were a constant struggle, simply faded away. And they were replaced by new clients who valued my work, who were a joy to collaborate with, and who paid me more than I had ever asked for before. The unexpected expenses didn't stop, that's just life, but my reaction to them changed. Instead of a panicked, "Oh no, here we go again," my new default response became a calm, confident, "I can handle this. The resources will appear." And they always did. This is the shift from a life of repelling to a life of receiving. When you are running a scarcity program, you are unconsciously pushing away opportunities. You don't see them, you don't feel worthy of them, or you actively sabotage them to remain in your comfort zone. When you install a program of abundance and worthiness, you become an open vessel. You become a powerful receiver. You start to see opportunities everywhere. You have the confidence to act on them. And you have the sense of worthiness to allow yourself to receive the good that flows from them. You are no longer fighting the current of your own subconscious programming. You are now in perfect alignment, your 5% desires and your 95% programs all rowing in the same direction, and the speed at which your life transforms will astound you. Part 10, Closing with Emotional Epiphany, You Are the Creator. The most profound realization that comes from this journey is not about money. Money is just the curriculum. It's the subject we are studying in the School of Creation. The real lesson, the great, life-altering epiphany, is the realization of who you truly are. You are not a victim of your genes. You are not a victim of your circumstances. You are not a victim of the economy or your past. You have been, and always will be, the powerful creator of your own reality. You just weren't aware of the tools you were using. For years, you were creating by default, unconsciously running the programs that were handed to you in your childhood. You were a magnificent creator, creating a life of lack and struggle with exquisite precision, because that was the blueprint you were given. There is no shame in this. We all did it. But the moment you become aware of this process, the moment you understand the relationship between your subconscious beliefs and your reality, you can never go back to sleep. You have been woken up to your own power. You have been handed the keyboard to your own subconscious mind. This is the ultimate freedom. It is the freedom from the prison of your own past. It is the understanding that, at any moment, you can choose to install a new belief. You can choose to feel a new feeling. You can choose to broadcast a new signal. You are not a fixed, finished entity. You are a process, a constant state of becoming. And you get to consciously choose what you are becoming. The work of Bruce Lipton and the new science of epigenetics is the most empowering message on the planet today. It tells us that we are not fragile, biological machines doomed to play out a genetic script. We are powerful, energetic beings with the ability to influence our biology and our reality through the power of our perception. You are the artist, and your beliefs are the paintbrush. You are the genetic engineer, and your consciousness is the tool. You are the observer at the quantum level, calling your desired reality into being with the power of your focused, feeling-based attention. So, what reality will you choose to create? What programs will you choose to run? What signal will you choose to broadcast to the universe today? The choice, now and always, is yours. You are not here to be a victim of your life. You are here to be the creator of it. If you are ready to pick up your tools, the real work has just begun. Subscribe. Stay close. It's time to remember your power.